you looking up tonight? Mulling under the moonlight. Never thought to let it go. Soul searching out of your window. Days, never sleep unless your head's by mine. Holding on to what we call divine. Do you think we're running out of time? Too late to stay, too dark for you to head home. Lay here with me, we'll watch another episode. Don't say goodnight. Stay by my side. Daylight rushes in over your emerald eyes. Guess that means that we're all out of time. Like a dream, you only come out at night. Am I crazy? Watch the sun as it's fading. Can't believe I'm waiting around on you. So complicated. I thought that you would leave it, yet here we are under the moon. Too late to stay, too dark for you to head home. Lay here with me, we'll watch another episode. Don't say goodnight. Stay by my side. Too late to stay, too dark for you to head home. Lay here with me, we'll watch another episode. Don't say goodnight. Stay by my side. Too late to stay, too dark for you to head home. Lay here with me, we'll watch another episode. Don't say goodnight. Stay by my side.
Good evening. I forgot to turn my camera on. I'm such a consummate professional. Welcome, everybody. Good evening. There we go. Good evening, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm not late. I click start streaming at 2 o'clock, I'll have you know. Touchline talk at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday with your boy, Nobbins. How are we doing? Welcome, welcome, one and all. Hope you had a lovely weekend. I certainly did. It was nice and chilled because it was just a chilled out FA Cup game on the Saturday. So Sunday was just like a massive day for, it sounds so sad, but you know, when you're an adult, these days become quite exciting. It was just a day where I had all the time, because I didn't do any work that day basically, so I just had all the time to do loads of like chores and whatnot that I needed to do around the house. I wall mounted all the Lego Star Wars that I've been meaning to wall mount in the games room. Also, it's been months. Those sets have been chilling there, waiting for me to sort them out. And finally, I was able to do that. So they're all lovely and wall-mounted. So I had a great day. How was your weekend, though, everybody? Welcome to the show. Today, we are going to obviously discuss the Newcastle game tonight. Hence, the thumbnail saying Newcastle preview, because there is a game tonight. And there will be a watch-along tonight for the League Cup semi-final first leg. There's been an update on the Gahey situation, so perhaps we can talk about the likelihood of that. I do want us, because there isn't going to be a standalone preview, I would like us to see if we can try to predict what we think the lineup is going to be and the system and the shape is going to be tonight. And because we haven't really had a game adjacent to this stream, there's perhaps less to talk about specifically. So this is going to be a more broad, chilled out, laid back stream, I would suspect. We always do tends to find stuff to talk about though, don't we? Even if I start a stream, I'm like, I have no idea what we're going to talk about today. You guys are very helpful and you manage to make it my life very easy in that sense. Leave a like on the video as you're coming in. It's free and it helps support the channel. But how are we all doing today? I was not late. I clicked go live at 2 o'clock and today's stream was scheduled to start at 2. So we'll be having less of that. We're having less of that, yeah? Foot ID, welcome to you. We've got Professor, we've got Natando, we've got Fenway, Usul, Naveen, Joshua, Eugene, JRA Photography. What the hell? What the hell? Mango Milk Gaming, unbelievable name, and Abanab ready as well. How are we doing? Yes, there will be a watch along tonight. We'll do the team prediction, of course, and hello, the winner takes it all. How are we all doing today? Hopefully all good. Hello, this is just a guy. Hello, Puneet. Hello. Good afternoon, Austin. Good evening, Jacob. Good day to you, Hazza. Hello, Rehan. Small down to you, Linny. Yeah, not big up, small down. Hello, there we go. We got the formalities. We got yes, says Iron Man. Hello, good evening. What's the first thing that we should discuss today? I guess we should maybe if you guys haven't seen it, there's a slight Gay Heat update. I don't know if it really qualifies as an update, but I guess it technically is. It's just this is a saga which is gonna keep sagaing, isn't it? This isn't like the Semenya one where it was just this isn't the Semenya one where it was just no, it's definitely gonna happen. It's just a matter of when, not if. The Gay Heat one's a little bit different, isn't it? Because there was the Sam Lee podcast that he did. Big up to Sam Lee. Did I tell you guys I saw him in a Lego store a few months ago? Big up to him. I think he was shopping with his daughter. And he said that Gahey would prefer to just stick around until the summer. And even in the instance of it not being a timescale thing and it being more so a club thing, he would prefer to go to Liverpool in any event. So that was a thing. Alex Crook. Is he a crook or is he a good source? I don't know. Says, City are considering stepping up interest in Gahey with a formal bid. Palace's asking price has been set at over £35 million, and it's unlikely City go that high. Gahey seeking a wage of around 200k a week. And there was another one from FPL Main Road. Wasn't there? Big up to him for his insight. He has said that Gahey's agents met with the club at the CFA yesterday. This was yesterday, so this is 2 days ago now. City finding it difficult to find a solution that works for Gahey and Palace due to signing on bonuses he's been promised if leaving on a free transfer. And that does seem to be the crux of it, doesn't it? So there are two things going on here, aren't there? There is the financial motivation of, well, it would be within my best interest to just wait until the summer because I'm obviously not going to go for a transfer fee. Therefore, the money that would have been gone for a transfer fee, I can have that as a juicy signing on bonus. So it's excellent stuff for me. So there's the financial factor with the player. I don't think it would be a problem with the club, but that also does have to be considered. The fact that Palace would obviously want an amount for him, which isn't insufficient, especially given that he's... Well, there would be a conflict, wouldn't there? Because Palace would want a certain amount, let's say 25 to 35 million, however much. Is that a lot of money for a player who's going to be on a free a few months down the line? Perhaps it is. That's a consideration to note. And then there's also the player. Does he want to... This is the way I've always framed it, and maybe these aren't the right words I'm using, but the word I do use is ambition, and I think it's a fair word to use, because bar an injury, etc., you would assume that Gahey would come to City knowing that, okay, you'll be the starter this season due to injuries, of course. Even when Diaz comes back, it would be a partnership, of Diaz and Gahey. But you would suspect that he would know that from next season onwards, realistically, he's not going to properly dislodge Yoshko, nor is he going to properly dislodge Diaz. So it would be a pretty clear, you are a very clear, excellent third choice, but you're a significant tier down from the main two. Whereas if you go to a Liverpool, I would assume that all of a sudden, given Van Dijk's age, and also given that Konate's existence, that he would become more of a first choice there. So there are two factors going on here, aren't there? There is there's three, I suppose, isn't there? There is, what is the personal ambition of Gahey as for the club he opts to go for? What is the financial situation that Gahey desires? Would he be willing to sacrifice an amount to join City in January, and then would City muster up the remainder? And then there's the financial package between the club. So there's 3 different moving parts. I would suspect that the easiest thing to sort out would be club to club. That seems pretty reasonable and pretty straightforward, because Palace would rather, I assume, I don't know, but I assume that they would be happy to let him go rather than just let him go in a free a few months down the line. Because what competitions are Palace still in right now? They're no longer in the FA Cup, obviously no longer in the League Cup. They're not going to win the Premier League. They're in the Conference League, is that correct? Is that the only competition they are still in? So I suppose there is still something for them to fight for. Can you guys please confirm? I think they're in the Conference League. I think I've got that right. They are still in that competition, and that would be a massive player taken away from them. Thank you. They are. Thank you very much. So, is it the Europa League? I thought they got bumped down to the Conference League. I'll need to check now. Sorry, guys. Just let me have a little look. I've got conflicting info there. But either way, a European competition, regardless. So there is still something for them to fight for this season. And have the fixtures not been released or something? They are in the Conference League. They beat Shelbourne 3-0, if anyone's interested in that. They've played 6 games. It looks like they are currently in the playoffs. I don't know how many games you play in the Conference League. I don't know if it's fewer or more than the Champions League, but they've already played 6, and I can't see any more fixtures, so I'm assuming that they've played as many games in the Conference League, so they're going to be in the knockouts. There is still something to play for, essentially. But still, you would think that if Crystal Palace can get 30 million, then you'd suspect that Palace would be fine. So that's like, in respect of like the order of magnitude of which are the hardest elements of this to be done, you go, bam, club to club, that shouldn't be a problem. The personal ambition of the player is something that City can't really influence, I don't think, because you can't lie. Well, you can lie to the player, but realistically, they're not going to be able to convince him that, oh yeah, you'll come in and you'll have a chance to dislodge Gvardiol, you'll have a chance to dislodge Diaz. Probably not going to happen. So that's all up to the player. What they could convince the player on is the financial package, as you guys have said, the signing on fee. What do you guys reckon? Just a little cheeky prediction. I think I've summarised it quite well. That's the state of play that we seem to be at. It's still alive, otherwise we wouldn't be getting all this back and forth, allegedly Gahey coming to the CFA, allegedly Gahey still interested. So it's not dead in the water. There is still a chance of it happening. I'm not especially desperate for the player, but at the same time I wouldn't say no to the player. What do you guys reckon? I want 2 things from you. I want you to say, I want it to happen, / I don't care, / I don't want it to happen, or, no, and I think it will happen, or I think it won't happen. So what do you want to happen? What do you think will happen? I want as many people as possible to please give me your thoughts on those 2 things. At this stage, I'm going to say it won't happen. And I'm going to say that I'm pretty meh on whether I want it to happen. Because I do like Gahey, but I still have concerns about the long-term ramifications as for squad balance, which aren't going to be alleviated until I see it in action. So let me know what you guys think and want. I want to get a survey here. Good evening to you, Sub. Hello, Herbal. Hello, Yanko. He won't start 5 games at Arsenal. Yeah, the Arsenal link is very peculiar, isn't it? That's very interesting. Very interesting. It was, if I was his agent, I would wait and go to Liverpool. If I were Gahey, I would do the same, personally. Trying to take all bias out of it, I would definitely wait, go to Liverpool, because you're going to probably get a better personal financial package, and from a playing POV, you're going to play more short-term and medium to long-term. So if I were him, that is what I would do personally. But let me know what you want to happen, what you think will happen. Rico's capable of replacing Bernardo. People want to bin him from performances from right back. I don't like how people are binning him off. I was a big defender of him last season. I was a big defender of a lot of our players. I'll keep defending Rico because I like him as a player. Herbal said, I hope we get it done, but I doubt it. Need a solid plan B. Yes. It also depends on how the club views Elaine. If the club view Elaine as he can just be that person, then you don't need to sign anyone, do you? So and that's a big leap of faith, of course. We've only seen a couple games from him in a City shirt. One of those was against Exeter. So that would be a big leap of faith. Who knows what's going to happen? Maybe they'll wait to see what happens for the remainder of this month, see how he gets on before the transfer window closes, and then act if they feel they need to. Or maybe they won't, and maybe they'll just go for, okay, we'll stick with our fit centre-backs this season. Well, I was going to include Ake in there. That doesn't work. Elaine, Kusanov, and Diaz, they would be once Diaz comes back to fitness, and then you've got Ake maybe being a thing. I want to see the pairing of Nico and Rodri. Says Scope, we'll talk about that, no doubt. Yeah, we did. To be fair, I don't think it was a lie at the time. I think it was truthful at the time, but then it turned into an untruth in hindsight. If that makes sense. A Large Slime says, not desperate for him, but it would be nice. Doubt it will happen. Not worth this much hassle, says Puneet. For someone coming to be a backup, it's not worth it. At this point, I'm a no on Gahey. I think he waffles and signs with Liverpool in the summer. That's interesting, Fem, because I think you were quite big on Gahey, so that is interesting. Is that because of the saga? Has that turned to you? Let me know. Or maybe I'm confusing you with someone else. Mario doesn't want it to happen. Simian needs it to happen. Puneet says it won't. Kobe says, I want to sign him, but I think he goes Liverpool. I want him on a loan. That's not going to happen. No world that happens. There's nothing in it for him at that point. I know the player I want, says Mario. Let me know who that is, matey. He's not ready mentally. Afternoon to you, Robert. Wouldn't mind, says Yanko, but don't think it will happen. Herbal thinks he's a good defender, but doubt it happens. We invest in Kusanov and record Elaine. I think Elaine's been great so far, and we should trust in the youth there, says Bicycle. That would be the ideal scenario would be Elaine is good enough, you don't have to spend any money. That would be the ideal situation, of course. A lot of faith would be put in Elaine at that point, but of course that would be the best situation. That would be the best situation. I said the same about Semenyo. Yes, absolutely. I still believe that. I'm happy he's here, but I'm not buzzing that he's here. And it would be the same with Gahey, yes, absolutely. Depends on how Elaine performs. He's doing good, but if something happens, then you buy Gahey. So I didn't see that, Large Slime, sorry. Hello, Dom. Should recall Vitor Hayes as Professor. We've already called Elaine, so I don't think we can do both. Our next set of games are tough fixtures, says Matthew. Yes, we've got a not nice run, haven't we? Let me see. It is a big test, isn't it? Newcastle away, the Derby, Bodo Glimt, Wolves at home, that's nice. Galatasaray at home, that should be nice. But yeah, Spurs away, and then Newcastle again, and then Anfield. So yeah, there are some tricky games in there. Some favourable games as well. The Wolves at home, Galatasaray at home, even Bodo Glimt away, I would suggest are favourable games that City should be doing well in. But of course, there is Spurs away, there is Anfield, there is the Derby, there's Newcastle twice. Well, thrice, actually. So yeah, you're absolutely right. I've not... Spartacus, no. Not yet. You love John Terry? Hello? I know who you're talking about. Just being cheeky. Dom asks, when do you think we bench Bernardo? Maybe we could talk about Bernardo. He's been getting a lot of hate, has Bernardo. And I'm not... the way I'm looking at it right now is if you want Shirky to start, then you start Bernardo. Because he's not... Until I see the evidence that Shirky can start in the Premier League without Bernardo helping him, I'm not willing to say that that's something that I'm comfortable doing. And I get it, you've got to do it once to see if it works, but I'm just going to wait to see if it works first of all before I opt to commit to anything. Ari, my thoughts. Maybe that's a better way of framing it, Fenway. Yes. And I do think we did do that. I think there was a lot of copium going around when that happened. And I was like, nah, we didn't promise him anything, mate. We definitely did. Like, it's fine. We did a naughty thing. It's okay to accept that. At the end of the day, it's a corporation, and commercial entities don't tend to be the most moral. They tend to be immoral. So it's not, it's fine. It's fine to accept that the company, the club, whatever you want to say, did a not nice thing. Today will be a big test. If he starts, absolutely. And I hope he does start. Sorry, you were yes on something lukewarm. Ah, gotcha, Fenway. Gotcha. I like Gahey, but the saga. Plus, I'm not sure how he could be convinced of his medium to long term future. Yeah, it's very tricky. It is very tricky. It absolutely is. But the interesting thing is that there's clearly something to be discussed / negotiated. Otherwise, surely it wouldn't be mid-January and we'd still be getting connections to the player. We wouldn't have it alleged that he / his agent turned up to the CFA to have a conversation. So if it were dead in the water, then we would have surely moved on by now. There's clearly something to be done. Perhaps he's not himself decided in his own head. Perhaps he just needs to be convinced financially. Perhaps he needs to be convinced project-wise. I don't know. It is just interesting that we are still pursuing it, though. I think Gahey would help the title. Hope someone. He definitely improved the squad. There's no doubt about that. I would reiterate my thoughts on, if you do bring in Gahey, what does that mean for Kusanov longer term? I think people get it twisted when I talk about Kusanov. So let me just repeat my thoughts on him. I think I've said many times this season that I believe the highest ceiling centre-back pairing that this club has to offer right now is Gvardiol and Kusanov. I do believe that. My query on it isn't, is Kusanov good enough? Because that hopefully is a statement which illustrates that I do think he's good enough, because I do think that long term, ceiling wise, he's the better option at right centre back there. That isn't my gripe. Re signing a Gahey. My gripe signing a Gahey is that if you bring him in, then there is clearly a very distinct third choice centre back there, and more specifically, there is a very clear second choice left centre back and a very clear second choice right centre-back. If Gvardiol needs a rest, or if Gvardiol gets injured, or Diaz needs a rest, or Diaz gets injured, if there is a need for rotation of one of them, generally speaking, I would assume the first choice would be Gahey. So that, in my mind, knocks Kusanov down the pecking order by a factor of 1. So he now becomes the out-and-out third choice to the out-and-out fourth choice at the most, bar injuries / let's say Gvardiol returns and is 30% of the player he once was. Different conversation to be had. I'm assuming that's not going to be the case. It just knocks down his playing time. It knocks down his opportunities. What is his ambition? Is he willing to wait around for 3 to 4 years, however long it may take? Or is he going to be a player who gets frustrated with the lack of opportunity and then wants to leave 1 or 2 years down the line? I just wanted to address that because lots of people still don't... They keep trying to twist what I say my thoughts are on a player, and I don't think that's fair. So, because lots of people keep thinking that I don't like Kusanov or don't rate him, I'll repeat, I think he's actually would be in the highest ceiling partnership of the two. I would just have concerns / questions about the long-term squad balance viability of having all of Diaz, Gvardiol, Gahey, Kusanov, and then never mind Elaine, Hayes, etc. So I just wanted to put that out there. I'm not saying anyone's done it here today necessarily, but I see it happen quite a lot, and I don't like that. I just wanted to address that. Just wanted to address that because yeah, that's the thing. I do like Kusanov a lot. I don't like him as much as I think LB, for example, really loves him. I don't like him as much as LB, and I do still like him. I think I don't like him as much as like Big Steve or Daps. I think they're massively high on him. I'm not as big on him as they are, but I'm still big on him. I still think he's a very good player. I still love Bernard, but Pep needs to stop playing at right wing. This is frustrating me, I will say this, because I get what's happening. I get why you need to do it if you're playing a back three, because it's the only really viable way to get Shirky into the centre by moving Bernardo out there. I get that. But I don't like the back three. I don't like the 3-1. You know I don't like that. I would rather we be playing Nunes out on the right this season. I think we've played our best football like that. And you still get the desired effect of Shirky moving into the centre, but now you have an actual proper outlet on the right in Nunes, who's got a really good cross on him, and he's a really good wing-back threat, so he can get back and defend him, because obviously there's loads of space in behind him. and you get Bernardo into the centre where he is a central player. So I would prefer to play like that. So I do totally agree, Fenway. The only problem is if we keep, and we have kept playing a 3-1 for the past, I can't actually remember the last time we played a 2-3. It's been a minute. We've played 3-1 for many a week now, I feel like. And unfortunately, / fortunately, well, whatever way you view it, if you want to play like that, and I personally don't, then the only way to get Shirky centrally is to rotate with Bernardo, which does mean Bernardo has to start, which I don't think is a problem. I don't think it's the best utilisation of him. So it's still fine for Shirky, still getting him in centrally into his desired position. But as you say, it means you're getting in Bernardo on the right, and he can still do a job there sometimes, but it's a very specific job, and against certain sides, it's not optimal, and there's just like no, he's not a natural player out there, whereas I feel like Nunes is more so natural. So I would like us to revisit the 2-3 if that could happen. That would be lovely. Thank you. Thank you. If we could make that happen, guys. Get that trending. Don't forget to hashtag. We will do a lineup later today. Don't you worry. So I'm going to catch him on the chat. I catch him on the chat and then I get caught on one comment and then talk about it for 5 minutes and then the chat's talking about that and then by the time it's a vicious cycle of me and these chat-centric streams. God damn you guys for being so interesting to talk to, you little bastards. I believe Gustavo's going to transition into right back, but Nunes really stepped up his game. I'd be very concerned if that were the long-term thinking, because he ain't a right back. Hayes and Gustavo are different players. It's better to have one mode aggressive. So I would go with Gavardi or Kusanov over Hayes as Scopes Esports. That's fairs. Except for centre-back, do you think we'll sign any other positions? What, in January? Nah, I don't think so. That's even if we sign a defender. I don't think we'll sign a midfielder this January. I think we'll wait until the summer. And I don't think we'll sign a right back. I think we'll wait until the summer. I think if we are going to sign anyone for the first team, it will just be a centre-back and that will be it. I want my Goku sound playing so no to Gahey, says Mario. That is reasonable. And I'm not saying it's one or the other, but I am saying that if you bring in Gahey, that just seems to automatically limit the amount of minutes that Kusanov will get longer term. Not this season. Well, actually, no, this season, because when Diaz comes back, it will be Gahey Diaz, wouldn't it? So this season as well, to be fair. Yeah. I'm doing very well, brain rots, because over the weekend I wall-mounted all of my LEGO Star Wars sets. I'm running out of space, so I need to start buying them. But there is one more set that I do need to build, and I do have space for it, and it is Jabba's Sail Barge. I ordered it in like November on Black Friday. It only arrived like a week or so ago. It is massive. That's going to take weeks for me to make, but I'm very excited. I've got many minifigures in it. I'm very excited. Have I ever kept a beard? I can't grow a beard, nor would I want to grow a beard, though, in fairness, because this is too much for me right now. This is itchy right now. I've let this go. I've let myself go. I need to shave, because this is getting itchy right now, so I need to sort that out. I'm a slob. Hello, Graham. Newcastle have only lost once at home this season to Barca. How do you like our chances tonight? We'll discuss this in more detail tonight, but I'm pretty chill with a draw because it's only a League Cup semi-final first leg. I'm pretty confident in saying that if we draw tonight and we can win at the Etihad. I'm not saying comfortably, but I would back us to win at the Etihad, essentially. I'm not saying that a draw is a good result. I'd rather win. But if we draw 0-0, 1-0 tonight, I'm not going to be upset. I'll be like, okay, we didn't lose. That's the important thing. Let's win at the Etihad. I would totally... I'm not going to say I'd take a draw, but I would accept a draw. I'm not happy with a draw, but I'd accept it. I wouldn't be unhappy with it. I'd be pretty ambivalent. Yes, exactly. It's a two-leg competition in the League Cup. So, in the semi-final, sorry. Life would have been so simple if we can play Shirky in the middle, says Musty. And maybe that will happen maybe it'll happen this season. Maybe it'll happen in the near future. But I'm not comfortable. There will be a watch along tonight, yes. I'm not yet comfortable in saying, yeah, let's just throw Shirky in as one of our number 8s in an off-ball 4-3-3. I'm not yet comfortable saying that. There's not much evidence for it, in fairness. In fact, there's only one game where I've seen evidence for it, and that was against Spurs, and it didn't end well. I never really saw him do it for Leon, and I think that's the trick that people don't think about, because it's all, and I get it, it's not sexy. I mean, John McKenzie won't like me saying this. It's not sexy to talk about off-ball shape and out-of-possession structure. People only want to focus on, yeah, but what are we doing when we're attacking, when we're on the ball, when we're pinning them in their own box, and when we have the ball and attacking, blah, 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 blah. But football is 50% in possession, 50% out of possession, isn't it? So you do need to, it's a pretty significant amount that you need to think about there. And right now, I would not be comfortable in popping Shirky as a number 8 because he's not yet illustrated that he can do that. Now, maybe that will come with time. Maybe he can do it this season. Who knows? But so far, we've seen it once in the Premier League, and it didn't end well. It really did not end well. And that wasn't Shirky's fault, by the way. No way should Pep have played him like that against Spurs. No way should he have done that, but he did do that, and in my opinion, that was his error. We got linked to a right back today. Wait, who was that? Who was that? Let me know. I need a left-footed centre-back to punch a bicycle. You guys actually convinced me the opposite of this. I think it was I know Spartacus spoke about it. I think a fair few people spoke about it, and I'm now of this opinion. So you guys, this is why I like these streams, because you guys changed my opinion on this, and I totally understand the logic now. Because I was like this as well. I was like, I'd prefer, it would be great if one of Hayes, Bar, whoever were left-footed. But then your guys' argument, which I now agree with and accept, was if you bring in a left-footed centre-back, they're never going to play, really, because they're never going to play at right centre-back because they're left-footed, and left-footers don't tend to play at right centre-back. I'm sure there's an example out there of that happening, but it's not one that I can think of. They only tend to exclusively play left centre-back. Now, if you've got Gvardiol in the side, and again, this is your guys' argument, where's he going to play? Because Gvardiol's going to start like 30 games in the league because he's Gvardiol. So unless you like playing him at left back and you don't really want to do that, where's the opportunity going to be for this left-footed, left-sided centre-back? And the answer is that there's not really going to be an opportunity. So what you actually need is someone like Gahey. You want a left-sided centre-back who's actually right-footed, because then they can play right centre-back and left centre-back without too much of a problem and filling in for Gvardiol when needed. So I've had my mind changed on that. And it makes a lot of sense. And just sticking to Gahey for a second, there was a really interesting stat. I think I bookmarked it on Twitter. Where is it? Here we go. Oh, it's not. He's not there. The most two-footed players in the Premier League, City now have 3 of them. And I thought that Gahey was number 5 in the list, but he's not. But Gahey is the second most two-footed centre-back in the league. So it does make sense that we are linked with him. That's just a little interesting tidbit on two-footed players. Walker wasn't great in the attack because Sal's crossing is shocking. Yeah, and in fairness, he is a centre-back, so it does make sense. Jabba is in the set. Yes, we got Jabba, you got Slave Layer, you got the standard people like C-3PO, R2-D2, you got all of Jabba's goons, and who else? Max Rebo, that blue guy, big up. Not a fan, not for me. It's for children. That's fine. I just don't know how many children are going to be buying that because it's incredibly expensive. So yeah, it's not for me. Beard's extra handsome aura, says Mario. I don't like a beard. I don't think it feels nice for me. Right, let me catch up now. Let me catch up. What we saying? Yeah, we got all the bow-footed lads. All the bow-footed lads all the time. Which is good because it gets rid of angle bias. True. I also learnt, just on this, his name is pronounced Fooney, apparently. So big up. It's pronounced Fooney, so I was pronouncing it wrong. I apologise. His name is correctly pronounced Fooney, so I'm going to call him Fooney from now on, because apparently his parents got in contact with the comms team The LNobbins channel, no, like the Academy people, and they said, "Can you please pronounce it like this? Because that's how you pronounce it." So, I didn't know that, but now I do, and I'm imparting the information onto you. So there you go. It's apparently pronounced Fooney. So big up to Fooney. I felt he should have started against Exeter, but hey, we'll take 45 minutes. And I guess that is a good point in fairness, because how old is Fooney? 17, and he is left-footed. So I don't know how it would work. Maybe he'd go out on loan a few times, but maybe by the time he would be thinking about getting into the first team, perhaps at that point it would make sense to have an actual left footer. So there we go. The LNobbins channel has a customer service line. It's just Evie picking up the call, going, meow, like meowing, going, okay. So that's Gahey, and I've spoken about him for over 30 minutes, which I didn't think I was going to do. Again, I thought Gahey was going to be like a 5-minute section, maybe, and there we go. The beauty of being able to yap like this. This was how I was able to do so well at English literature and language at GCSE and college level, because I just yap a lot. And that also helps for just like university assignments as well. If you can yap a lot, fill up that word count, you're going to have a good time. You're going to have a good time. So I am a yapper. You guys know it. So people say going to uni is pointless, yeah? Well, it's helping me yap live on stream, so it clearly had its benefits. Oh, dear me. Yes, we do indeed have customer service. Big up, big up, big up. Exactly, yeah. You've been saying our child's name wrong. I'm now going to strike you. Oh, I'm sorry. Mass report. Can we get a non-homegrown defender? Yes. Now, this is what I understand the homegrown situation to be. We are still walking a tightrope. Now, that is not the same as saying that we can't put a player in, because Ortega, Gvardiol, Kovacic all count towards our non-homegrown quota for our competitions this season. There's not really any point. So if we're just focusing on the Champions League for a second, let's say, because the Premier League matters less because they don't count under 21s as non-homegrown. So the Premier League isn't too much of a problem. It's more so for the Champions League. You could just not register Kovacic because he's out for the whole season, basically. You could just not register Gvardiol because we think he's out for the whole season. You could just not register Ortega because how many goalkeepers do you need? It's more so the longer term squad planning. And I think this is why we are being linked with a homegrown centre-back. It's why we've signed a homegrown winger. It's why we are being linked with a homegrown midfielder as well. I don't think that's a coincidence. Now, thankfully, Semenyo's a good player, Anderson's a good player, Gahey's a good player, so that's not necessarily a problem. But there is no doubt in my mind that the only reason that we are only seemingly seriously pursuing these three is because of the fact that they are homegrown rather than not. So we are still walking a tightrope in that sense. We are still walking a tightrope. It also depends how you view Hayes. It also depends how you view Echeverry. It depends how you view anyone else that we have on loan that I've perhaps forgotten about that's got a potentially semi-serious chance of being in the squad next year. If you don't view Echeverry as having any future at City, then you don't even include him, do you? In those calculations. If you don't view Hayes as that, then you don't include him in those calculations. But regardless, even with right now, Sarthak, Naipan is on course to become homegrown if we send him out on loan for another 2 years or just keep him in England, because he could become homegrown. And the Premier League won't care about him either, because they don't care about you if you're non-homegrown, if you are young enough. And that's what Naipan is right now. So he's fine. He should be okay. And again, we could turn him into a homegrown player. But so even with Bernardo, Kova, Ortega leaving, and that's a significant amount of players leaving, which is good. So it does free up some space. I still think it makes sense that we are connected with homegrown players, because you always want at least one slot to almost like a just in case or reserve situation. Like, what if you get a massive injury? Let's say that happens. Let's say you've got your whole 17 non-homegrown allocation for the Champions League, and let's say that I don't know. Semenyo gets injured and misses the whole season now in January. Well, tough shit. You can't sign a non-homegrown option in his stead. So if you did want to sign an emergency player for whatever reason, you're going to have to go homegrown. So that just massively limits your options. So I think it's always good to have at least a couple of spaces as a just in case. You never want to really be at the absolute maximum. Again, as a just in case. So I don't think so. We could get a non-homegrown defender. It's just if you got a non-homegrown centre back, then that means that you're limiting yourself Ari the right back to be non-homegrown. You're limiting yourself Ari the midfielder to be non-homegrown as well. And it looks like it might just be Anderson. But what if something changes? What if he goes somewhere else? What if he doesn't want to come to City? Then all of a sudden you're stuck. And then who do you go for? You know what I mean? There's not a guarantee that will happen. So it's always good to have the option. But if there's a player like a Semenyo who you can get who is homegrown, or if there is a player like Gehi who you can get and is homegrown, given our current squad status, I think it makes sense to pursue them. I yap to myself. That's fair. That was the way I revised. Walk and talk. That is the strategy. That's scientifically proven as well. If you're like doing some sort of physical activity, don't be naughty. Like walking, for example, whilst also repeating stuff as like a mantra, so your revision notes, it will go into your head more. That's how I was, like, it was genuinely around 30 to 40 sheets of A4 paper that I was able to recite in perfectly, all in a row. And I remembered all that for my law school exams. I could seriously do that by just walking and talking over the past weeks leading up to the exam. I wrote down all my notes on pieces of A4 paper, and I just like read them out loud. I like went back and revised. I was like, right, I've done that now do that. So if you've got any exams, that's a revision technique, to literally remember sheets and sheets and sheets of A4. It works, trust me. It works. Forgot about Echeverry. Yeah, and I don't think he will be there, by the way. I don't think he will be here long term, because he is a very traditional number 10. Shirky exists. Is Echeverry realistically going to get meaningful game time over Shirky? Realistically, I don't think so. So I think that the Shirky signing basically killed any notion of Echeverry doing well at City. We'll see. Who knows? Maybe I'm dead wrong there. I don't see it, though, personally. I don't see it. I don't see it happening. No place for Echeverry unless he becomes one of the best midfielders in the world very soon. Yeah. It's harsh, but it's a thing. It is harsh. Carson, first choice keeper, amazing. Lifetime contract for Carson, yeah, big up. No notification, what a massive L for YouTube. Well, that's a difference, isn't it? Is there a difference between a solicitor and a lawyer, or is it just Brits using a fancier term? So a lawyer is a very generic term in this country. Because a lawyer can technically be a paralegal. So that it's a very generic term. So a lawyer can be anyone on the legal spectrum, essentially. You don't have to, like, there's no, it's not an official term, lawyer, where a solicitor is an official term. Hence why I say I'm a solicitor. Because I earned that qualification, yeah. A lot of hours went into that shit, working at firms that I hated. So, yeah, there's a difference. Whereas in America, you have attorney, don't you? And attorney is... Well, attorney's even more general, isn't it? Because an attorney includes both a barrister and a solicitor. Thank you so much, Abanab, for gifting someone a membership to Ultimate. Big supporter of the channel. Big up to Abanab. Let's get W's and big ups in the chat for that. Excellent work. Watchalong, what? Yeah, exactly. Puncture bicycle, big up. Yes. I blame how beef the realistic get you very expectations. Yeah, he's a fraud. Yeah, he's a fraudster. He cheated. Austin, chill, mate. Chill. Chill. Why are you exposing me? Why are you exposing me? Yeah, get the likes of guys. Come on. Yeah, big W's for Abanab for that. Welcome to the Nobbins show where we talk transfer, football, Star Wars, Lego, and being a lawyer. Absolutely, Lewis. We can talk about whatever we want. You know what I mean? We can do whatever we want. Pedri outclassed Bellingham again. Shock, horror. Shock. Big up Pedri, I love him. He's my boy. I do love midfielders like that. Lawyer attorney are the same here in the US. Both do generally require. Yeah, exactly. It's like on Suits, where they do commercial law one day and then in the next they're like doing some criminal stuff. We don't have that here. You've got to go into criminal specific. Or civil. And no. No, what am I saying? No, because you can be a civil barrister, can't you? Yeah. Barrister or solicitor is what I'm trying to say. Generally speaking, the barristers are the ones who go into the court and they argue in front of a judge, jury, whatever. Whereas the solicitors are the ones on the benches giving the barristers like pieces of paper and information and doing all the background stuff. If they are indeed doing something to do with litigation, because solicitors do more than just litigation, they might be doing corporate deals. Barristers are the cool ones. Barristers are the ones who, I mean, solicitors at the highest level don't have a life, but there is, I don't think there's any level of barrister who has any degree of life. It's actually quite sad organising stuff for barristers because they are so busy all the time. And what they basically, I think I said this before, what they basically all do at a certain level anyway, they all just take August off. So you cannot book a top barrister in August for love nor money. Yeah, unless you get bare time in advance. That was my experience anyway. Because they would all just take the entire month off because they needed it, because they're like working themselves to death. I met one, he was allegedly 30 years old. This brother looked 55. His bags were down here, yeah? It was insane. It was insane how tired this lad looked. It was madness. It was a madness. I looked at him and I was like, oh my God, this is your life, isn't it? How upsetting. Ugh. Anyway, that's another conversation for another day. Yeah, big up to Bellingham. Smellingham. Do I like Vimto? I do. Right. What shall we do now? Shall we move on to the Newcastle preview? Or, because lots of people are asking, should Donnarumma or Trafford are starting? Or should we... Is there something else that we want to discuss? Let me know. Do you want to take a minute to make fun of Real Madrid and their Galacticos 2.0 fails? You're damn right I do. Yeah? You're damn right. How many times have we said on this channel when people say stuff like, we want to become the Galacticos? Fucking why? The Galacticos failed. They failed. Literally, objectively. Was it one league title in however many years? And like one Champions League with Zidane and R9 Ronaldo and David Beckham and Figo and all these, and Roberto Carlos and all these amazing players. Yeah, well done, Pet. Well done, little bastards. Little bastards. So yeah, they can hold that as well. I don't know if what they're necessarily doing right now is Galactico situation, but it's certainly all about the individual rather than the collective, isn't it? I like ranting about it, Fenway, because it just speaks to the point of, like, football is a team sport, and it's all about constructing a coherent team, not just a collection of very good individuals. That's why I don't like it when people view transfers through that lens and go, sign that player because they're a superstar, because they're a name. Right, but are they a player that helps the team? If not, then what's the point? It's like United signing Sanchez. Why are you signing Sanchez? Well, he's a world-class player. If he's available, you sign him. But does he help you? No, he set you back. So less of that. Pissing me off. Yeah? Yeah? Oh, I do like to rant about that. This is crazy, you know. This is absolutely crazy. I didn't know this. Apparently, he got his under-17s coach sacked as well. I think I saw that on Twitter yesterday. What is wrong with him? What is wrong with this guy? Respectfully, you are not good enough to justify that. Okay? I've always felt Mbappe is overrated. No, don't get me twisted. I still think he's one of the best players in the world. I still think that. But this shit is acting like he's Messi 2.0. You're not that good, mate. You don't deserve all of this. You don't deserve like getting rid of all these players and having a team built around you like that and having a say in the fucking structure of the side. No. Pissing me off. Anyway, bloody Mbappe. Big up Haaland, that's my goat. That's my unproblematic goat. Big up Erling. Big up Erling. Big up Erling, yeah. He can do what he wants. I tell you what he won't do. Win La Liga or a Champions League doing that. Yeah? Yeah? Yeah. Did they win La Liga last season? No, they didn't, did they? No, they didn't. They didn't. Tee-hee. Idiot. What's your take on Pep staying another season? I hope he does. Hello, Ram. How are you? I did, yeah. This is just horrible ego and hubris. I don't know what this guy's doing. I don't know who he thinks he is. Madrid had a really good opportunity with Alonso, I feel like, because it's not like he was doing bad this season. I think he's got a pretty flawed squad. They haven't really rebuilt their midfield properly. And I know they're not winning La Liga right now, and I know they're not doing especially well, whatever, but I don't think he was doing a terrible job under the circumstances of living in a Mbappe dictatorship either. And now they've just like gotten rid of what could have been a really solid manager for them for the next however many years, just throwing him away. They were begging for him to come. Now just get rid of him. I've got a proper. I've got a Real Madrid agenda, and I'll say it. I don't like how that club is run. And people will say, right, but they win the Champions League a lot, and absolutely they do. Absolutely they do. Do you know they haven't defended La Liga since 2009? I think. No, that can't be right. I think it's worse than that. I think it might be 2006. It's a long time anyway, since they defended their league title. That's insane, isn't it? Considering it's a duopoly of a league. Isn't that a bit mad? I don't know. They win the Champions League a lot, Nobbins, so who cares? Okay, fine. If that's the retort, I guess. I think that's weak. I think it's a weak retort, but whatever. Oh no, that will be lovely, absolutely. Ethan Mbappe is humble, says Thunder Road. Amazing, Spartacus. Yeah, exactly, Fenway. Right, I didn't think we were going to have a little rant about Real Madrid, but there we go. Shall we have a chat about the Newcastle game tonight? What do we think's going to happen? And I guess what we want to happen, but mainly I do like to think about what we think will happen. Let me just get Newcastle's colours selected, and we can have a chat about that. Rant about them every stream. Nah. Don't think so. It's going to be a tough game, says Nintendo. Absolutely it will. There's a potential for revenge. Because they beat us earlier in the season. In a very unfortunate game. In a very weird game. But they did beat us. 2-0 draw. They're shipping a lot of goals right now. I have very little confidence we can keep a clean sheet. Yeah, let me have a look at their form. What are they saying? what are they saying RE form? They actually haven't lost since Old Trafford, which is interesting. And then before that, it was the derby. So they haven't lost this year. They beat Palace at home. They beat Leeds at home. They beat Bournemouth on penalties. And are they still... Have they not lost at home all season? Or oh, no, Arsenal beat them, didn't they? Yeah, Arsenal... Oh, yeah, Arsenal, Barca, Liverpool. I do remember talking about that when we previewed it originally. So... But you are right. They did concede 3 goals against Leeds. That is a thing. This isn't going to be an easy game by any means, even though it is a cup game. They will be taking it incredibly seriously because the game after ours tonight is Wolves. And they're shit. So they can afford to just go absolute full strength and then some tonight because they can just like rest a few players against Wolves if they need to. Conversely, we have the derby coming up, and it's away as well. Now, United are in disarray. Don't even know what the manager situation is going to be, but it's still a derby. It's still United, and we obviously have to win that game for a number of reasons. The good news for City is that one of Newcastle's best players in the fixture earlier in the season, Livramento, he's not going to be available. Yeah, apparently Dan Burn's out as well, says Fenway. That looks right, yes. Langer's a doubt, but he didn't start. I think Cher started. Or Cher? I don't know. Cher. Do you believe in life after love? What a banger. Big up Cher. Shah, I'm assuming that's pronounced. And, yeah, so Livramento's not going to be available. That's big for us. That is big for us, because it means that who's going to play Trippier? And Trippier exists. So... I would like us to probably target that quite aggressively. When did Livramento pick up that injury? Was it against Bournemouth? It was. Okay. Cool. He's definitely not going to be available, is he? So, can't resist the falsetto. Do you believe in life after love? There you go. That was in tune as well, guys. Come on now. Big up. Yeah, it's probably going to be Trippier right back. So I think that's an area that we should be looking to exploit, obviously. That would probably lend itself to Doku starting. Before we get into the City lineup that we want, let's just refresh our brains as to how Newcastle play this season. So, like, what were their key strengths / weaknesses against us? I should just go put on my Newcastle preview video, shouldn't I? I distinctly recall... that... Oh, it is just Cher. Okay, fairs. He does believe in life after love, then. That's mad. I distinctly recall that Newcastle's biggest weakness that we were able to identify in that video was that they have a very passive 4-5-1 mid-block. And the gaps between their defensive line and their midfield line are so vast that it's incredibly easy to just pop some players within the pockets. And so long as you can find those players in the pockets, they can immediately receive all the time in the world, turn, and they are in. So, and I know we lost. I know we lost against them, but that was how we created so many good chances against them. Certainly in the first half. I think it went away from us in the second half, but maybe I'm misremembering. I definitely remember, because I remember doing a thread about it on Twitter. We kept exploiting that, essentially. So we should be doing the same thing again. So what are the pocket players? So what players should we be relying on? I think Austin's done a good amount there. Shirky is one of those players. Foden is one of those players. Rico Lewis is one of those players also. I think Doku is arguably one of those players also. Semenyo could do that job, definitely. He wouldn't be as naturally suited to it, but he could still do it, I think. Absolutely he could. Not as naturally capable as those others, but still capable to do it. So I think that's probably how we should be structuring the attack. What does that also mean? Yes. What does that also mean? It means that you definitely want to be starting at least one player who is very easily going to be able to find those players. Now, there are 2 players who I think this season have properly been able to do that from deeper areas this season. Those 2 being Foden and Rodri. Now, in an ideal world, you would want even though I prefer actually Foden in the deeper role, you probably want Foden to just be popped in those pockets in this game, because you don't need Foden's passing from those deeper areas, because you don't need to bypass a high press, because Newcastle don't play like that. Certainly in the settled shape anyway. So I don't think this is going to be like, the Palace game, where second half we dropped Foden deep, and then we had no problem getting around their mid-block, because we needed to commit some bodies deeper. We don't need to do that, and indeed we didn't end up doing that against Newcastle in the reverse like that. Again, that's how we were able to create so many good chances. I think it was Nico that day, Nico and Bernardo playing it into Foden in the pockets, and that's how we were able to create a lot of those chances. I think we actually ended up playing a 2-2-6. I think. Might be wrong there, but I'm pretty sure that it was a 2-2-6, because normally it would have been a 2-3-5 with Foden as the 3, but instead, because Voltemade just was on his own in this passive press, you didn't need to have a 2-3 or a 3-2 or even a 3-1. You could just have a back 2 and then the midfield 2. There is no first line of pressure, really. It's incredibly passive. So perhaps we could just do a similar thing, in which case you'd want to play Foden a bit more advanced. You'd want, obviously, Rodri in the side if he's available to play. Now, he only played 45 minutes against Exeter, so I don't see why he wouldn't be able to start this game. And this is just the in possession. Of course, if we talk about the outer possession, they're going to have Tonali. They're going to have Bruno Guimaraes. I don't know if Gillinton's fit. He was apparently on the bench last game, so I'm assuming he's fit and available to go. So that might well be their midfield 3. Having Rodri in there helps out a lot. Of course, it does. That's a thing to have Rodri in there, because we know that's going to be a midfield who will try to dominate us and probably succeed in dominating us, regardless of what midfield we put up, in all honesty. I think even if you put up our most physical midfield 3, and I don't even know what that would be, Rodri, Nico, and Bernardo, or Foden, maybe one of those 2 options. I think even if you put out that midfield 3, you're still going to get physically overrun by that midfield 3. So I don't know if City should go for trying to go blow for blow physicality and athleticism, because I think that's probably a matchup we're going to lose. That's not the same as saying abandon it outright. Just don't know if it's something that we can compete with directly necessarily. So that's something to note. So with all that in mind, what would I like to see? What would I like to see? Rodri starting, definitely. I'd be very surprised if Foden didn't start this game, because he got his first proper rest since October against Exeter. That was his first proper rest since October, which is an insane thing to think about, considering how much of an off-ball role he has this season. Because we can say, well, how many minutes has he played? It's not just about the minutes. I don't actually know the answer to that question. I'll look into it. And maybe I can look into it right now. But it's also about how intense are those minutes and what are you doing in those minutes. So I'd suspect he's one of the leaders for minutes. And I don't have the running numbers to hand, because unfortunately that data is safely guarded. But whenever that pressing data, running data is released, he is always near the top. At the start of the season, or like a few months in, wasn't he like the 4th most intense out of possession player in Europe? Something insane like that? In Europe's top 5 leagues anyway, or Europe's top flight, something ridiculous. Which is a crazy thing to think about, isn't it? Minutes. Right, okay, yeah. So Foden's played the 2nd most minutes of any player for City this season. Haaland's the only one who's played more. But then you consider that Foden's also got a ridiculously intense role in and out of possession. So thank God he was given a rest. He needed a rest since the Madrid game. And he was supposed to get it at Brentford. Bob got injured. He had to come on after 10 minutes. So he wasn't able to get it. So hopefully he's more rested and ready to start tonight. If he's not, then just give him another rest and save him for the derby. But hopefully he will be okay to start tonight. That would be lovely. And I think he should start. There's also something else I just wanted to say. I have discussed this before. And I'm going to discuss it again, just very briefly. And I'm not naming any names because I can't remember them. because I can't, okay? Because I don't remember what their usernames were. But I was in LB's chat yesterday, big up Elbins, and I had to turn, because normally when I'm on Elbins, or indeed any other chat, I have the live chats open so I can see, so I can like engage or see what's going on, just because it's interesting. I had to turn it off yesterday because of the lunacy that was going on in the chat. Certainly at the start, before we'd even began the conversation. We'll get into the team prediction. I'm just doing a little aside. This idea that there is the 10 is annoying me. Now, you can say, Nobbins, you're just being an arse with semantics, but I don't think I am. Because when you say the 10 for Manchester City, with respect, that tells me that you don't know what you're talking about. With respect. Because City don't play with the 10. What does the mean? If I have a bowl of fruit that you've given me, because you're a very nice person, and two different scenarios. In one scenario, I say, can I have the pear? And in the other scenario, I say, can I have a pear? What's the difference between those scenarios? Because they sound very similar in sentence structure, but they aren't. Because there's a big difference between the and a. And this isn't a case of semantics. This does matter. There is no such thing as the 10 for City, because the suggests there is only one pear in this bowl of fruit. If I say a, then that means there is more than one. So saying the former is objectively incorrect, whereas saying the latter is correct, because City don't play with the 10. Which shape are you talking about, first of all? Are you talking about the 2-3-5, where we play with 2 number 10s? Or are you talking about the 3-1-6, where we play with 3 number 10s? Just a little semantics rant there. So when people say that, what they really mean is, I want this player to play instead of that player. But that's not the starting point, and it stems from an incorrect understanding of the structures that City have used this season, and indeed the structures that City have used over the course of however many years. There is no the 10 in this City structure, whether it's a 3-1, whether it's a 2-3, whether it's a 3-2. Saying the 10 is wrong. You can say a, you can say as a, but the is wrong. I just wanted to get that out there, okay? Because that annoys me. The phrase, because then we can't have honest framings of conversations. And it just tells me that people don't know what they're talking about. So there we go. I just wanted to get that out of the way. Because again, people don't know what they're talking about. And it gets very annoying. And I try to be patient. I try to be calm. But, the 10, yeah, exactly. So, there we go. Hopefully that will help certain people. Play him in the 10. Well, what the fuck does that mean? With respect, what the fuck are you talking about? Do you mean the left-sided 10 in a 2-3-5? Do you mean the right-sided 10? Do you mean one of the 3 in a 3-1-6? What are you talking about? What does that even mean? Oh, it means shit all. It means we're having a valueless conversation. Well, certainly I'm having a valueless conversation anyway. So that's a situation. Hopefully that has provided some insight for certain people. Shall we get into the starting 11 now? Because I've now had my little rant. Oh my gosh, why am I so tiny? Oh yes, because last time we had some issues, didn't we? There we go, let's get rid of that. Bop. Je suis le ten. Oh, Toby. Toby. So, what is occurring and what is going on? What do you mean boo? Hello? What do you mean boo? What's going on? What's occurring? So this was, what was this? Oh, this was the lineup that we predicted / wanted for the Exeter game, wasn't it? That's what it was. So, let's just get rid of some of these players, because we actually did call McAdoo to start, so big up to us. We did call Mafuni to start, though, as well. I think we got quite a lot of it right, though. We got Trafford right, Ake. Yeah, we got a decent amount. Didn't get Mikasa to start. I wanted Mikasa to start. Boo. So let's just get rid of all the players for now. And let's try to do this, shall we? Let's start from the back. So I think, you guys can correct me, I think that... I think that Pep confirmed that... Can the chat who are sensible, what is the one term, what is the one buzz phrase that this interesting user has used? Can someone please outline it for me? Just so I know I'm not going mad. Thank you. What's the buzz phrase, do you guys reckon that, what's the buzz phrase that I know that this isn't a conversation worth pursuing? What do you guys reckon I'm gonna talk about here? Yeah. Don't worry, family. That was it. I just wanted to name and shame, and that's it. Yeah. He said the thing that means nothing. Oh dear. Anyway, you've lost replying privileges. So, Pep has confirmed that Trafford is starting. Yes, I believe that is correct. Is that what you guys say? Yeah, Pep confirmed that Trafford will start. Excellent work. Lovely, lovely. So that's good. We got that locked in. That's safe. That's safe, yeah? That is safe. We're going to have James in there. And that's good, I think, because I think that he has earned his cup spots. So I think that's not a problem at all. I think that's not a problem at all. Lovely. And he had a good game against Exeter. He only had like one thing to do, in fairness. He only had one thing to do. But, hey, he did it, and it was really, really good. So fair play. So fair play to Trafford. Hopefully he has a lovely game. And interestingly, it's a team that he was linked with strongly as well in the summer window as well, or rather a future summer window. So Trafford starting, we can assume that's going to be a thing. Why is that safe? Because Pep said it's going to happen. So I'm assuming that that's safe. Like safe means that's locked in. That's a reference to Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Have you guys ever seen that? Yeah, you've got that. You're going home with that. That's safe. You know, when Chris Tarrant handed them the check, you've got that. That's safe. You're going home with that. So we're going home with Trafford. Not a problem there. We are currently limited on centre-back options. Realistically, who do we have? We've got Kusanov. We have Elaine. We have Ake. And I think that's it for centre-backs. I think that's it. I don't think I'm missing anyone, am I? Rodri, he's not a centre-back. Stones, he's out. Diaz is out. Fooney's not going to play, is he? I don't think there's any other options. Kusanov should play, absolutely. And I would like us to just do this again. I would like us to do that. Kusanov, Elaine as the partnership. Because I thought they played quite well against Brighton. And I thought they played well against Exeter. So I would like to see this personally. And I think it would make sense for these two to play as well. Because we know, and Pep will know, that you can't rely on Ake because of the fitness situation. So the less games you can play him in, the better. Basically. What's this? I already missed the flight. What? Hello? What? Are you saying he could have been available for today? Oh, pissing hell, man. Right, it's right. Well, it's not going to be it's not going to be Ake, surely. I would suspect that it would be O'Reilly, because O'Reilly was given 45 minutes off against that. And if Aitonori is definitely not available, and you guys are saying he's apparently not, he missed a flight. Is this confirmed? Is this real? He's available. He was late back in training. Is this the first game you want to start him in? This is crazy, yeah. I'd suggest no. So I'm going to go with... I'm going to predict O'Reilly to start. Pep said it. That is mad, you know. How are you missing a flight? This is like supposed to be like the highest upper echelon of football. And we got footballers missing their flights. Hello? Pep said he had connection issues. Bloody hell, man. Bloody hell. Fuck the environment. Get him on a private jet. Oh, no, big up the environment, obviously. Pep making stuff up, yeah. And it's oh my god, it's going to be like John Cena at that one Royal Rumble. Back out. It's like Nori. How sick would that be though? Like if we had more situations like that. I know it would never happen because of Romano and all those cunts, but like new signings that just like come out. It's like, back out. It's Antoine Semenyo. He has split him in half. Right, yes. O'Reilly then. I think we have to go like full strength here, basically, or as full strength as we can go, because this is a semi-final at the end of the day. Nunes didn't start against Exeter, so we had some time off. O'Reilly didn't start against Exeter, so we had some time off. Not as much as we may have wanted, but still, it happened. That's a thing. And who else got some rest in that game? Yeah, did Nunes come on? No, Nunes didn't even come on, so he got a full rest, actually. Nunes got a full rest. So that's good. O'Reilly got half a game of rest, and he scored a goal, so big up to him. The midfield terror, exactly. So I think this is a pretty safe back four to predict. What do you guys reckon, though? Do you guys have any other things? Yeah, the first game in the derby where he comes on. The Italian wall! What? Do you guys have any other suggestions on? Because we're quite limited on options. If we're saying Nori can't start, then it has to be O'Reilly. I think it basically has to be these two as the centre backs. And Rico Lewis, who apparently, I don't know how true it is. I saw something on Twitter that he's apparently starting. Now, I don't know how viable or valid the source is, because it was the MEN. But apparently, Lewis is starting, according to the MEN. I have no idea if that's valid. But that's a thing. Now, if Lewis is starting, I'd be concerned about him starting at right back just because Anthony Gordon exists. Anthony Gordon does exist. So, would it make sense to start him at right back? I'd suggest no. So let's move on to the midfield and the attack. Let's immediately pop Haaland in because Haaland exists. Where is he? There he is. That's going to happen, isn't it? That's going to happen. Rodri also has to start, I think. He has to start. For a number of reasons. The first reason is because he's Rodri. The second reason is that he's going to help us massively with the off-ball situation because of how their midfield three is going to run over our midfield regardless of who we play. And because of the key weakness that they have in their structure, it is going to be Pocket City. Yeah? PC, personal computer, has turned into Pocket City. I don't know what that means, but there we go. We need our best player who's going to access the players who occupy the pockets, because I'll repeat, if they're going to... Let me just quickly... I'm not going to do their names, but let me just quickly put in Newcastle. In their 4-5-1... 1, 2, 3, 5, 1. 1, 2, 3. I've put enough players, haven't I? Yeah. The back line is not really close to the midfield line, so all the space is here. All the space is here, so we need to do that. Manchester Evening News, Thunder Road. It's a newspaper. So this is where we need to exploit it. This is what we did in the first game. Hey, big up to me. This is what we said in the preview. Well, to be fair, if you just watch any Newcastle, you'll get that. So we need Rodri in the side. So now, I think the midfield and the attack is... I'm very confident in saying that we've got the team correct so far. Don't worry, I know it says Brighton top left. Just ignore it. Yeah, just ignore it. I'm pretty confident in saying that those 7 players will start. I'm quite confident in locking in all those 7 players. I think that's going to be a thing. The question just now becomes, what are the other options going to be? Now, can we learn anything? Can we gather anything from the Exeter game? For example, Reinders played the full 90 minutes. Shirky played the full 90 minutes. Lewis played the full 90 minutes. Whereas players like Haaland, Semenyo, Rodri, Ake to be fair, all got taken off early. Doku came on for a bit of time. Looked good. Bernardo came on for a bit of time. Foden didn't play at all. I would be staggered, therefore, if Foden did not play because he was given a full-on rest. A situation which has not happened since October. So I'd be very surprised if Foden did not play. So I think that I am going to predict Foden to play. And I would also argue that we need Foden to play. Because if we're saying that this is the biggest weakness that Newcastle have, what do you want? You want small space players. You want players who are fantastic in the pockets. Foden is, in my opinion, one of the best pocket players in the world. I would argue the best in the Premier League. Certainly one of the best in the world. This would be his bread and butter, therefore. And with Rodri accessing him, that seems to make a lot of sense to me. So I think Foden will play, and I'll go one step further. I think he should play. I think it'll be a bit odd if he didn't. Not saying we can't win if he doesn't, but I'd be very confused if he didn't. And realistically, he should be playing in midfield. We'll come back to right central midfield and the right wing, because I think that's an interesting conversation to have. The left wing, though, I think is a bit more up for grabs. And in my head, I'm looking at it as one of Doku or Semenyo to play at left wing. I think it will be Doku to play on the left. Why do I think that? He didn't start against Exeter. He came on. Whereas Semenyo did start and came off. Semenyo has also played, speaking of a lot of minutes, Semenyo has played a lot of football recently, including that Exeter game, of course. Now, he's got an engine on him. He doesn't get injuries. He doesn't really suffer from fatigue because his body is just insane. Ha ha ha. So, I'm not saying that he needs to rest. However, if it is a choice between the two on the left side, I would suspect it's going to be Doku to play. And that still opens up an avenue for Semenyo on the right, and I'll come back to that. So I'm personally predicting Doku on the left. Would anyone like to offer another name at left wing? That doesn't necessarily mean Semenyo won't start, but I don't think that Semenyo would start on the left, even though he started there against Exeter. What do you guys think, though? We could have Reinders there, by the way. Reinders played there against Chelsea. So that could be a thing. This guy Matthias, man. Each play 45 minutes, says Brianna. Start Doku to tire them out. That's harsh. That's mean. You're a mean person, Brianna. Tijani, a bench option. I think you're probably right. Austin wants a Semenyo Doku wing pairing. If Doku's fit, I want him to start, says Matali. I think a Shirky left wing, which could happen. It could happen. I would like to, because we got to remember, it's probably going to be Trippier. And he's a weakness. So I would like to see Doku there. And I think I'm going to stick with Doku there. I think most of you guys have said that as well. Now, this is the biggest area, Fenway. This is the biggest area of contention. Oh, you think we're Miley? Fair enough. This is the biggest area of contention for City. The right central midfielder and the right winger. Now, let me explain my thought process. If you want Shirky to... And remember, this is off-ball. We'll get into the on-ball shape in a second. If you want to start Shirky, then in my opinion, this player comes as a package deal right now. And that is Bernardo Silva. Now, I could see this happening. Absolutely, I could. This is just, certainly in respect to the midfield and forward line, all this is the best midfield / forward line we have seen all season. That is what we have seen. Okay? And there's no debating that either. It is just the best performances we've seen for City. I think if you start Shirky right wing, you start Bernardo right central midfield. Or rather, I think that is what Guardiola will do. I think that makes a lot of sense. Now. If you want to start Semenyo at right wing, I think, and we discussed this on the Semenyo stream the other day, I think this introduces a different paradigm. Now, I don't think you necessarily need Bernardo in the midfield. I think that now you can have perhaps a more adventurous midfielder in as that right central midfielder. And I think perhaps, given how well he played against Exeter, and according to the MEN, I wonder, is this an avenue for Rico Lewis to start? Perhaps. Reinders is another option. I was thinking Rico, because he is another, if we're saying that this is the key weakness of what Newcastle is as a club this season, these are the areas that I need my pocket players to be infiltrating and occupying. And alongside Foden, Rico Lewis is City's best pocket player. That would seem to go hand in hand from a tactical POV. That is the problem, Fenway. There is a negative physicality that goes along with it. I would say that the jump between Rico and Bernardo isn't necessarily that large, RE physicality. Of course, Bernardo knows how to use his body better, but Lewis is a fighter, and he is a battler, and he is tenacious. So I would still back him to do that, in all honesty. I don't think the downgrade from Bernardo to Lewis is as significant as the upgrade, RE offensive work. So I think there are two. Of course, watch it be something entirely different. You know, watch him play fucking Reinders. Sorry, no, watch him play, I don't know, Nico, Shirky or something insane. I don't know. Maybe we'll see something like that. Instinctively, I'd suggest those are the two main options that City could go for. So it depends. For me, I'm viewing it as, who do you want to play at right wing off ball? If you want Semenyo there, then I don't think you have to start Bernardo. If you start Shirky there, I do think you probably have to start Bernardo based on what I have seen so far. And Bree says, is there an argument for Nico as the number 8? 100% there is. 100% there is. The only concern is, and this is something I've suggested, by the way, for games like this, could you, against Newcastle, physical midfield, could you have Rodri and Nico in a midfield duo together? Is this the game that you want to be trialing it in from the start? Because we have seen them together against Bournemouth, for example, and Nico played very well, scored a goal, but that was late in the game. He came on to make that difference. So is this the game you want to be experimenting it when your opponent is Tonali, Bruno G. Joelinton? Perhaps not, or perhaps it is. I don't know. This is another viable option. And here you could have, again, we've not really seen Nico given that defensive role with Shirky, but I'm sure Nico could do it because he's better defensively than Bernardo. It's more about the intelligence with Bernardo, but I'm sure he could still do it. But again, is it the game that you want to be trialing it in? Do you just want to do Semenyo there? Neither Rodri nor Nico G fit enough to go a full 90, and maybe that is another good point. Maybe that's another good point. Because if Rodri gets injured, all of a sudden, you can't bring on Nico because he's on the pitch. So maybe that is a step too far. I think I might like to predict this. I'm just thinking about Lewis's really good performance against Exeter. And yeah, I know, League One opposition, they were shit, blah, 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 blah. But he wants to be called Ant. Excellent. Can I call him Ant-Man then? Guys, can I call him Ant-Man? I'm going to call him Ant. That's a sick nickname. I love that. Can I call him Ant-Man? Do you think he'd be upset if I did that? It's a compliment. It's a compliment. Big up to Anthony Edwards. T-Wolves. Big up Minnesota. Minnesota Timberwolves. That's my boy. There we go. You heard it here first. I don't care if Bournemouth fans did it first. I'm claiming it. Yeah? I take charge. Yeah? Ant-Man. Coined here, just like we coined the Don. Just like we coined Don as Donnarumma on this channel, yeah? Seeming Goat is crazy. Ant-Man, big up Ant-Man. I want Ant-Man. I want Ant to... I think it'd be fun if he started. Of course, fitness is a thing. I can definitely see this being a situation, though. If you start Lewis, have a physical monster in Ant. Sorry, I said so many. I want some god Ant. I'm going to call him that then. If it were this, then, what does this turn into? So, let's now think about how City pressed this season. Well, this is a pretty straightforward situation. Haaland and Foden go to the striker. You got Rico Lewis, who is a runner. There. You got Ant, Jeremy, Rodri. There. So this now becomes our diamond press. This, as a forward pressing three, is really good. Because Lewis is a presser. Lewis is a runner. Lewis is a little tenacious bastard. Yeah? And whilst he's not done this role this season, certainly not against good opposition that I can recall, he's certainly got the attributes to do it. So this is probably, if we were going to go with that lineup in possession, well, so if we're going to go with that lineup with the deeper phases of out of possession, this is what you would assume it would be in the higher phases out of possession. 4-4-2 press. Yes, this is how we press this season. With our right central midfielder or left central midfielder pushing up as what the attacking midfielder. The other player goes to the striker. Haaland is the other striker. Yeah, he seems like a very lovely person, Fenway, which is very, very lovely. I like it when our players are likable, and he seems like a very nice person. It's always good to, and I really want, this is one of the reasons why I loved Grealish initially, because I felt like he was such a beautiful human being. It's one of the reasons why I wanted him to do so well, and why I loved him. Any questions on what I've constructed there? If you don't do that, then you could just have Bernardo where Lewis is. If you want Shirky in the side, you could have Shirky where Semenyo is. Sorry, Ant. And you just switch them out like that. I would like to have Ant in there, because I've touched on it before in the last stream or the one before it about the second line of pressure. This is the weak spot. This is the blind spot of City's diamond press. And Ant is the guy to help remedy that. Absolutely he is. Yeah, Antoine. Ant. I've been told he wants to be called Ant. I know, in an interview, I saw someone call him Ant. So I know that's not cap. Diamond press is haram? Hey, mate, this is how we play this season. This is how we play. I think Semenyo, Docker, and Shirky got to play outside pressing. I don't think anyone creates as much chance as Shirky. The problem with that is, where do you play him, though, Clark? So let's take this out of possession structure. Where does Ant play? If you want Ant and Doku, you need your wingers to be tucked in, because that's how we've played. The only viable option, therefore, is for him to replace one of Foden or Lewis in the press. The problem with that is, if you're pressing with these three, what you need is for at least 2 of those 3, in my opinion anyway, willing to be proven wrong, you need them to be absolutely on it in respect of the out of possession work. You need them to be pressing machines and tenacious and intense, preferably for the entire game. You also need them to be comfortable in that area of the pitch, and you need to be comfortable with them. They have to be comfortable understanding when and where to press, because Haaland sets a pressing trap. Or is it a pressing trap or a pressing trigger? No, it's a pressing trigger, isn't it? Well, I guess it's both, actually, because Haaland sets the trap by forcing the play one way, and then Foden leaps onto that player once they receive it. So I suppose it's both. But either way, you need pressing intelligence. You also need pressing physicality as well, of which, no disrespect, Shirky does not currently possess from the centre. I do not believe that Shirky can do this role of where I've put Lewis. I do not believe that Shirky can do the role of what Foden does, certainly alongside Haaland. Because Haaland isn't necessarily the most intense presser. So you need, in my opinion, you need to partner him with someone who does know how to do that. And Foden clearly does. This is why Bernardo has been so crucial this season. That's why I'll keep defending Bernardo. And I've changed my tune on Bernardo because I said at the start of the season that I don't want him to be playing a lot of football this season. But I can't deny what my eyes are telling me. And my eyes are telling me that Bernardo is pretty integral for how we press. So unfortunately, it's not as easy as we think to get all of Ant, Doku, and Shirky in the side. Because he can't do, in my opinion, again, so far, based on precedent, based on evidence, he can't do what Bernardo does in this role. He can't do what Foden does in this role. In which case, you need to try to pop him on the blind side, where we try to protect him with the press, and put him either where Ant is now or where Doku is now. So I think it's very tricky to justify playing them all at the same time. And that's why I'm not viewing it as playing them all at the same time. There's a reason why we've played Shirky once off ball in midfield in the league. And that was against Spurs. And it was shit. It did not work on any level. So until I see it consistently, I'm not comfortable in predicting that or doing that as a thing. So let me know what you think. But that's where that's why I've not included it, because I totally agree with you. In an ideal world, get Shirky in the side, get Ant in the side, get Doku, get all of these wonderful attacking players in the side all at once. But is there the balance off ball? Is the structure still there? That is the key question for your boy. And this is, I would love it if he could develop into that, definitely. I don't know if he ever will, because I don't think he ever should, because I don't know if he has to be that type of player. I'd rather he conserve his energy for the final actions, but stranger things have happened. What's that, Fenway? If you're predicting what Pep will choose, you probably have to include Bernardo. You're probably right. I just really like the idea of... him doing that. The name's already... Hey, so Ant himself has said, I'd like to be called Ant. You can't just say the name is taken. Hello? Hello? Yeah, exactly. Big up to Anthony Edwards. Ant-Man. This is why he's... Oh my god. I might need to get an Ant shirt. Big up Minnesota. Big up the T-Wolves. Yeah, big up Minneapolis. Big up Ant-Man. Anthony Edwards, that's my goat. Big up Antoine Semenyo, that's my goat as well. Yeah? I just ran over my... I was going to say hearing aids. Jesus, I'm not that old. My earphones. I don't think Shirky's ever going to be able to press right. Well, in which case, there is no world... If that's your starting point, then in this diamond press, there is no world in which he can occupy one of these 3 areas then. There is no way that can happen, unfortunately. In which case, he would have to play where either he is or wherever he is. Yeah, big up to you, Fenway. Big up Minneapolis. Big up Minnesota. Fuck ICE. Fuck Trump. Murdering bastards. Fuck it, and fuck Israel whilst we're here. And free Palestine. And free Tibet. Anyway. So if we are sick, so let's play the game of Bernardo's playing. Actually, no, I don't. My prediction, I really think Lewis is going to play. I really think he is going to play. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to lock it in. I don't care. I'm going for it. I don't care. Maybe that's foolish of me. I don't give a damn. Yeah? Right, so what... So what's the in possession situation? Yeah, freestyle Congo as well. Absolutely, yeah. Adam Babbitt's list of dictators. Right. Okay. So what might this look like on ball and in possession? What would it look like in possession? So this is the diamond press again. So we've got a couple of options. We can either do what we probably are likely to do, which is a bit of a shame because I don't really want us to do this. But I guess it does make sense. First of all, let's do what we have been doing recently. Let's do what we have been doing. 3-1-6. So your 3 number 10s become Foden, Lewis, Doku. O'Reilly pushes up. Rodri stays at home. Nunes has this hybrid right centre-back role where he's technically a right centre-back, but he will often push up to help out, where if it's Shirky on an overlap or, well, we haven't really seen it that much with an actual proper winger on that right side. One assumes that he will be underlapping in that sense. So that's how we have been playing of late. With our 3 number 10s. And this is what I was saying earlier. There is no such thing as the 10. There are 3 number 10s here. Don't get it twisted. What did we do against Newcastle earlier in the season? We did this, I'm pretty sure. I think it was this. Or was it? Or did Nunes push up? And did O'Reilly stay at home? Oh, I can't remember what we did now. Can you guys remember what we did? I'm sure we did 2-2-6. But I can't remember who sat next to Nico in the in possession midfield. Was it Bernardo? It would have been Bernardo, wouldn't it? Yeah, it would have been Bernardo. Let me just replace Lewis for a second because my brain is upset. I think we did that. Yeah, it was Bernardo, wasn't it? I think he was on the left technically. Right, so just okay. I'm doing this for my own brain. Okay? I think we did that. And then there was Shirky there. And then Nunes pushed up. So Shirky was where Semenyo was right now. And I think that's it. And then Bernardo was where Lewis was. Or it was like that. I think that happened. I think that was the case. I'm pretty sure. So that's how we set up last time. And this could work. Absolutely it could. You're giving Ant central access. We know we can do that. It's not necessarily ideal for him, but it could absolutely be a thing. So now, what does that mean? It means that now you've got Ant, Foden, Doku as your main pocket players. You've got Nunes and O'Reilly stretching the play to give these players a bit more room and space. You don't need that many players in the build-up. If you really wanted to, Lewis can also pop in there as well. Or again, as Fenway said, it's probably more likely to be Bernardo. That can work, can't it? You're not going to have a problem bypassing their, quote, press because it's only Voltemada who really engages and just 2 plays is going to get around that. So responsibility in this instance is going to be on the shoulders of Rodri and Bernardo to find Ant, Foden and Doku in the pockets. If we think this is how it's going to be. If we think that's how it's going to be. That looks satisfying. This is the area. This is the area. I need us to find these players consistently. If we don't, we're going to have a bad time. We're going to have a bad time. But that is that is the key to what we should be doing. Yeah, you know what, Fenway, you're absolutely right. Yeah, fuck Netanyahu, you're absolutely right, mate. Shirky isn't starting, says Bucks. Playing Rodri tonight is a risk. He might get injured, given how Newcastle's midfielders play. If the medical staff say he's ready to start, I think we've got to trust the experts. Are they 10s? Yes. Yes. I don't know how else you describe them. That they're attacking midfielders, technically. That they occupy central areas. I don't know how else you describe them. I normally say, like, if it's the 2-3-5, I normally say, like, left attacking midfielder or right attacking midfielder or left 10, right 10. It's like Amorim, he played with 2 10s as well, didn't he? But he was shit. Look at that high line. Hey, we got Kusanov. Don't worry about it, mate. It's fine. Semenya should be on the left, says Cody. I want Doku to play, though. I want Doku to play. You get me? Anderson/Wharton would really help here. What's overlooked in Phil's dead season was no Rodri who's brave enough to break a line and find Phil in the half space. This is a really good point, and I think that the best example of that from like one shift to another, and this isn't having a go at Nico Gonzalez, but he's not Rodri, and there's no shame in not being Rodri, but the Sunderland game, first half, I think our players found, because Foden wasn't being tasked with the deeper build-up play, therefore our players were being tasked with finding Foden. They only found him once that I can think of, and that was the one where Shirky found Foden, and then Foden crossed it for Haaland and he should have scored. The second half, the amount of times that Rodri was finding Foden and it led to chances for us was obscene. Like, it led to at least one of the Savio, it led to both Savio chances, for example. And many more thereafter, I think. So this is a very, very correct comment, in my opinion. Do Semenyo Docophone have the same role? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I did see we're looking for Anderson. Yes, that would be a very good move. Oh my gosh, I've been live for nearly 1 hour 50. What is wrong with me? Hello? Hello? What's wrong with you? Why are you freaks still here? There's over 300 of you. Sort it out. You have anything better to do? Thank you very much for giving up your time to be with me. I really appreciate it. Please don't go. Trey, I'm with you, matey. I am with you, personally. For this game, I don't know if we need it, though. I don't know if we need it for this game, though. And we didn't see it against Newcastle either. Because the benefit of having Foden deeper... So, like, what's the benefit of having Foden deeper? It's in case you need help with the build-up. And it's in case the opponent is pressing high. And especially if their mid-block is very tight and compact, you can't even really succeed in phase 2. I don't see City struggling in phases... Well, certainly phase 2. Maybe phase 1 will be a bit of a different conversation. Because... When it gets high, Newcastle will press high. When it gets to the centre, no problem. When it's in our own box, we'll see. We do have a Lane, who's a good ball playing good ball playing centre back. We've got Kusanov, who's underrated as a ball player, and we've got Trafford, who is better on the ball than Donnarumma. It's still not perfect though, and we have Rodri in the side. So I would be concerned if we struggled with build up tonight because we have the better ball playing goalkeeper. We don't have Gvardiol, but we do have Elaine. We have Kusanov, but we still have O'Reilly and Nunes, which isn't great. But we have Rodri. So I guess if you need to drop Foden initially, you can do that. You can. You know what? Fuck that Fenway for real. Fuck that for a laugh. Would I rather have a Carabao 4P or a League 4P? Come on, definitely a League. Definitely a League 4P. He's apparently in the squad, but he also apparently missed his flight or something. So, I don't know what's going on there. What were Newcastle's plan B tonight and thoughts on other January signings? I think we're only going to sign a centre-back. Newcastle's plan will be to surely do what they did against us earlier in the season, disrupt our build-up, hit us on the counter. From their perspective, try to be solid and not give up too much, but their whole structure is literally frail and does do that. So we will see what we see in that sense. This also means that if we did go with this side, I'm a bit upset I've not predicted Lewis there, but I think you guys are right. I need to do Bernardo instead. You can always bring on Shirky if you need to. You can bring on Nico Gonzalez if you need to. You can bring on Reinders. You can bring on Lewis. There are actually some good options to bring on, which is lovely in this situation. Well, you guys are saying maybe Ait Nori as well. That could be a thing. Yes, it could. Yes, it could. No, it's not been posted yet. Yeah, the little bastards. It'll never happen, Trey. Nah, it's in Newcastle, mate. I don't go to League Cup games anyway. Why not McCaster or McKay do? Because this is a semi-final. This is a semi-final, yeah? And we got to go strong. We've got to go strong. We can't throw this. This is, and the title of the stream is, this is a defining week for City. We can't lose this first leg and potentially get knocked out of the League Cup. And we have to beat United in the derby. This is a big week for City, and we may even be getting a defender. Who knows? This is a massive week for City. We've got to do it. And I want revenge. I want revenge. That Newcastle game really annoyed me. Is this a big game? It's a semi-final. Of course it's a big game. Now, it's not as big as the derby, but it's... When was the last time we went to a League Cup final? Wasn't it like 2020 or something? That's not good enough. I want to win this bloody trophy again. I don't know when it was exactly. Was it 2021? I don't know. I want to win this bloody trophy. We're in a semi-final. We're committed now. Let's do it. 2021. Thank you. Let's bloody win it. Newcastle now. 2 legs. We can do it. Just don't lose the first leg. Win at home. Beautiful. And then it's Chelsea or Arsenal in the final. So we'll have a lovely time. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Foden got fouled in the penalty box, didn't he? That pissed me off. Yeah, because that was easily a penalty. That was stupid. That was properly stupid. So there we go. Can Roger play 3 games in a week? Probably not, but at least he got half of the game off. At least he got half the game off against Exeter. And the first half was pretty low intensity from him as well, wasn't it? He was meandering around. It wasn't that intense for him, so he'll be fine. We will do a stream tonight. What are your guys' score predictions? I'm going to go 1-0. I'm going to say it's going to be a draw. I'm going to say that City are not going to accept a draw, but they're not going to push for a win either. I think that if it's like, a draw, if it's still level, like at the 65th, 70th minute, I think City will take the pressure off a little bit. Newcastle might do the opposite, in fairness. Lots of 1-0s. Yeah, lots of draw predictions. This guy. 5-0, 3-1, 3-1, 1-0, 1-0. Because you got to think of the mentality. City don't have to win this game. It'd be nice if we did. Not saying play for a draw, but let's think. 3-1, 1-0. I think so. 2-2 draw. 10-3, Clark. What is happening? 1-0 Newcastle. Oh no. 1-0 City. Kasanov piss missile. Desmond 2-2. 1-0 says Brianna. 2-1 says Louise. 1-0 or 2-1. Yeah, lots of draws are being predicted here. Lots of draws. We got a cheeky 3-0 there though. 2-1 says Herbal. Scared of Newcastle. I'm not scared of Newcastle. I'm just thinking more about the fact that City don't need to win the game, so I don't think they'll go out to be desperate to win the game. So I don't view it as a must win in that sense. I view it as a must not lose, but I don't view this one as a must win. 3-1 says Ayamide. 3-0 says Victor. 3-1 for a Haaland hat trick. I'd love a cheeky Haaland goal. That would be cute. I'm scared at Newcastle. That's a good point. Yeah, they do very well at St. James's Park. Exactly, Toby. That's why I'm saying a draw is pretty chill as a concept. I don't think it'd be high scoring. And it sounds stupid. It sounds obvious, but Newcastle fans will be up for it. Newcastle players will be up for it. It's a fantastic opportunity for them to defend their trophy. And yeah, so it's not going to be easy by any means. I'm just having a look at the lineup again. It's not going to be easy. I don't think this is a game to start, Reinders. It could be a game to start, Shirky, but it would be in place of one of Ant or Doku. More likely Ant. I'm personally not starting Ake. Lee, we've gone for O'Reilly. We've gone for a very strong side. Very strong side. 2-1 City. I've calmed down. Yeah, Fez. Love that from you. Semenyo brace. Big up. I'd love an Ant goal. I just love anything. I just love anything. I love any of our players to score, but a cheeky little Doku Ant link up would be quite cute. I'd love an Elaine masterclass. I would love it if Elaine can demonstrate that you don't need Gahey because I'm here. That'd be kind of sick if he could do that, because that would save us a lot of faff and a lot of money if he were able to do that. If he were able to do that. I'm not forcing anything. He said I'd like to be called Ant. I am abiding by his wishes. Also, I was calling him Ant-Man anyway, so it sort of works with my agenda. But I don't care. Let me call him Ant. I call Gavardio Yoshko all the time. No one says you don't know him like that, Nobbins. Stop calling him by his first name. Let me do what I want. You know what I mean? Let me have fun. Let me have fun. Yeah, we haven't had one of these in a while, I feel like. Get it up here. Get it up here. Big up to the ants. My favourite insect. Right. I think we're going to wrap it up there because I've been live for nearly 2 hours and I was not planning to do that. But you guys just bloody kept distracting me. Yeah? You kept distracting me, you little swines. It's not a problem at all, obviously. Thank you so much for joining me. Really, really appreciate it. We will be live tonight. Don't know what time kickoff is. It's 8 o'clock. So 7? 7 o'clock start, do you reckon? For tonight's stream? We can chat about the lineup and whatnot. I feel like if I got time, we normally start an hour before. Austin, no, mate. Not 1 more hour. Shut up. Colm says, Keel. We checked off the important boxes. Lego, politics, lawyer, terminology, and a little football. Yeah, because just a little. You guys are always guaranteed at least 40% football in these streams. Where else are you going to get that guarantee? I don't know, personally. I think you'd be strapped to find that rare combination. Yes, absolutely. We're doing a watch along. I'm probably going to start from 7 if kickoff is at 8. So feel free to join me tonight for that. We'll see how accurate our predicted starting 11 was. Maybe Pep will throw a curveball. Maybe he'll do something crazy. But in fairness, there's very little wiggle room for him to do that. So that is a thing. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. Big up to all of my beautiful members. I'm going to put the Hall of Fame on right now. If you have enjoyed today's stream, if you enjoy my videos, and you would like to support me directly, whilst also getting exclusive videos and many live stream perks, then why not sign up to become a member for £2.99 a month? The link has been provided by the Nobbot. That's the best way to support your boy directly. Thank you to everyone who already does do that. Big up to Fenway, for example. You can see he's got a little rat badge and he's got a lit up name. So that's some of his cute little stream perks. Another perk is getting in the Hall of Fame. Big up to everyone who supports the Patreon. Big up to everyone who is a YouTube member who keep the channel going. I would not be able to do this without you guys. Self-promo is crazy in 2026. Here's even more promo. Maybe thinking that's all well and good, Nobbins, but I want something physical instead. Hey. I sell merchandise. Shirts, hoodies, artwork. All original. All by your boy. Go to LNobbins.com. Have a look to see what's going on. They're all high quality. None of this buy cheap, buy twice nonsense. You buy one of my hoodies, you don't need to buy another hoodie. Don't worry about it. It will last. And it's beautiful quality. Also, I have been assured by some of my beautiful members who have already purchased a hoodie or shirt or piece of artwork. You can't buy me, unfortunately. You can buy my admiration, though, by becoming a member or buying some merch. Thank you very much, everyone. I'll catch you tonight for the watch along. Leave a like on the video as you go out, by the way.